Because if you're in love and you feel you can still make this work, would be what if you went back home to the core of what brought the two of you together in the first place, which was you love each other and there was a reason you decided together to have this journey. What if you go back to that? But nobody was there to tell us that. And I feel that when I started to heal and I started to come back home, I noticed that the flames came down a little bit, because when he would bring my son over on a Sunday, before it was instructed that you let my son walk to the gate and to the door, and I'll pick him up from there. But then it slowly became him peeking around the corner and being like, he's home, he's there, and I'd be like, I can see, I'm good. To slowly, could I come in for a cup of tea? And I was like, okay, great. To slowly, I'm taking him out for dinner. Do you want to come? Like, I mean, you're hungry
Indeed.
anyway.
Yeah.
And that's slowly how I would say we started to date again. But it came with a lot of healing needing to have happened, because so much had happened to us that we were signed to make a conscious decision. If we want to go forward together, we can't go forward with the past.
Indeed.
So what happens to everything we've just been through? And we realized that forgiveness.
Indeed.
And so he decided, let's date for a year. Well, no, actually he was like, could you move in immediately? And I was
Yeah.
like, ain't no hell to the no, this is not happening. You have to win me back. And I need to know in my soul that if I come back the second time, they wouldn't be that level of pain, again. And so we began dating, and I promise you, if a man wants to buy you flowers for 365 days a year, it can happen. Because he did it. It reached a point I was giving flowers out because he would always be bringing me flowers. So we did lunch for a year at Java ABC, because that's where I was working. And he would come down, and I started to look forward to it, and I would get excited, and then it moved into dinners. And so the 1 year went by, and it was beautiful. I think we reconnected, we got time together. But the thing was, my son, suddenly our son started to feel whole. You could see It was family. It became mama, papa. It was not papa's there, I'm going to run and protect mama. And so for me, there was a joy suddenly in family coming back together. And so we were sitting one day having pizza, I remember, on my dining table. It was a really nice one, and I don't know how I bought it for 8,000 bob. It was a really, really beautiful dining table. And we were sitting on top of that, on the dinner table, and we were having pizza, and he looked at me and he says, look, Shazmin, would you move in with me again? I've got a place, and I'd love for us to start scratch. And I looked at him and I said, I would love to. And he was so excited. And I said, right after we get divorced officially. And I remember he was unbelievable.
That's the look I had. So picture this, guys. We're having very warm relations now. This is the time where she's supposed to move in. Not talk to me about divorce. But she's now talking to me about divorce. So you really want to hear this part.
And so he was like, what do you mean get divorced? And I said, look, if it doesn't work, we've been dating for the year, and it's working because we're dating. But I want to know that if we get divorced and we're two separate people now, how would it be? Would it work? Would it not? And if it doesn't work, then we don't have to go through the agony of any ill pain or anything coming up again. And I remember he was a little hurt, he was a little confused, but I knew at this point this was something I had to do to just make sure we never go through this pain again. And so we were at the mosque, and I remember my friend was completely confused because he was coming to pick me up to go get our divorce papers signed, and I was staying with her, and she was like, your husband, who's going to be your ex-husband, is coming to give you a ride to go sign the divorce papers. And I was like, yes. And I got off the phone with him, and he was like, I'm outside. And I was like, okay, I'm coming, love you. And it's like a habit, I love you. And she was like, oh, what? It's still a habit. It'll take a while for that to go away. And I was like, yeah, she doesn't know.
And she doesn't understand.
Yeah. And I remember we were sitting at the office, and he had a really good friend next to him. You have to have someone witness it. And I was smiling, and he's crying, and that guy's all upset, looking at me like I'm the most evil person in the world for ending this relationship. And the priest, was trying to tell us both that we can have fresh lives and not to worry. And I remember looking over at him, and I said, But I don't understand why you're crying, because I thought we're going on a date tomorrow.